Okay, we should be live. Okay. Alright, let's check that out. Oh, is it not working the way I want it to? Oh, that's too bad. Okay, good. Should be working again. Connected? What do you mean disconnected? God. Trying to take me down. Trying to take me down. Okay, let's see. Let's see. So there's a lot that's going on. A lot of good or bad things that are happening. Where actually, let's move this timeline because I don't know how. Look, I'm gonna try and stay alive for as long as I can, but for whatever reason, there's some Hassan news that I want to look at. But I do want to play a little bit of a game before I go to work. But first things first, there's also things about like Lies of P that I'm hearing about. It does look like some bad news, and I have some thoughts about it. But more importantly, the title of the video is extremely important because some people do or do not know how this is gonna go. To where video game industries is lobbying against Stop Killing Games. Now, for those people who live under a rock and aren't familiar with Stop Killing Games, it's extremely important to know that I'm not someone to specifically talk about Stop Killing Games, but I do know that there was a dream, there was an idea where we owned our games, whether it was digital or physical. And I believe there was an instance to where what started the Stop Killing Games motion was someone had a physical game, right? They plopped it, they put it in, they opened it up, and then because the servers went down, the servers, the company, okay, let me, before I talk out of my butt, what started the Stop Killing Games movement? Allegedly, it was prompted. It started with the game by Ubisoft's shutdown of the crew. It like this entire thing started with Ubisoft making the crew unplayable, and I don't know if did the crew have offline features. Did the crew have an offline mode? Did it have an offline mode? Okay. So originally this game was meant to have a online only mode, much like how there are some games to where you can't play Zenless Zone Zero, you can't play World of Warcraft without being online, or I think you can. Can you play? Can you? Can you play? What good example? Some games made sense to not be playable offline. Actually, what MOBAs? MORPGs can you play offline? They're rare, but essentially there were games that were requiring internet access to even start playing the game. So you needed the barrier of entry to have an internet access before even paying the entry fee to buying the game and having the console to having the device to play that game. But originally, this entire Stop Killing Games movement was started by Ubisoft shutting down its online racing game, The Crew, making it incomplete to play. And I believe we're not asking all video games, to just like dedicate a hybrid mode or like a situation where you are the ultimate goal is to make sure that for people who spent money on a game to properly own it, because this isn't just about people who digitally own games. This is about for other people who did buy a game physically, and you're telling me that in 5 years, I can't in 10 years in 5 years, this game and sorry, as I'm recording, the internet is fluctuating. I don't know why, but there was a promise that if I bought this game 10 years ago, I can play it today, and it doesn't cover all games, but it covers the games that makes sense with. To where if you, it's almost like, it's kind of like the staying power of like Magic the Gathering, right? You can pick up your cards from 2015 and you can play with people in 2025. The cards may be outdated. There may be a need of changing some cards and the errata text for it, but you can still play the game. It's really interesting to where like people have. It's really interesting to where like we bring ourselves to like this problem today where they're looking to consider a new law called AB 1921, known as the Protect Our Games Act. Bill will apply to paid digital games as of January 1st. And again, everything's taken with a grain of salt because I'm looking at this from somebody who looked at it, and again, take the information for what you will. Take this information for what you will. It requires that if a company shuts down the online services needed to play the game normally, it must give players 60-day notice so that, and okay, that's okay, and either release a patch so that the game can still be played, or offer buyers a full refund. But I mean that how do I feel about that? Because like this option is definitely nice to have, because like racing games should be timeless, right? To where I can play I can play Mario Kart from 10 years ago today, or I can play a racing game, because there should be, because at a very ground basis, some racing games like Need for Speed Most Wanted, I played that a lot when on the Xbox. There's like Need for Speed titles and Forza games. I can play that by myself, and if I want to see if I want to compete with other people and see if I'm a better driver, I go online. That's the general goal with these kind of games. But The Crew was the prime example of it being a situation where, hey, you're gonna always be having you will have access to all these features. But anyways, the bill does not require companies to keep servers running. But how do you feel about I don't know how I feel about a full refund, but this will definitely pertain to people who this affects people that I don't know of. So if people want a full refund, I actually don't think it. I'm not too sure about the full refund part, because games depreciate in value and content depreciates in value almost all the time, right? And so there's a situation where Nintendo online will still sell a game $60 now. $60 2 years ago is still $60 now. Now there are sales that happen often, but in this example, if you bought a game on the Nintendo Switch or Switch 2, you may want that refund because that specific store maintains its price for an incredibly long time, and you wish that some games depreciate in value, but some don't. The Entertainment Software Association, or the main group representing video game companies in the United States, is lobbying against this bill. So the ESA is lobbying against California's law to protect our games. Let's see the reason. The argument is based on the usual ones. Games are licensed, not owned. Wait. So you're telling me, okay, online services are complicated. It's not that complicated. Third-party licenses expire. That makes sense. Security risks exist. This could be hard or expensive to enforce. Supporters of the bills include Stop Killing Game. Supporters of the bill say this is basic counter protection. This is basic customer protection because when you buy a game, it should not suddenly stop working with no remedy. Yeah, because like if I want to buy my copy of Street Fighter 6, or if I buy it at the very baseline, if I buy my physical copy of, say, like Kingdom Hearts, or actually let me just I have props. I'm not gonna grab, but if I have a physical copy of a certain game, my physical copy should not be affected by the licensing that Steam or Epic Games or the Xbox Online Store have on that property. So just because the licensing, it's weird because just because somebody's licensing of a digital copy, it should be protected, right? Like, you spent $60 for a version of a game that makes sense in your environment, to where if you don't have space to have a physical game, you have the ability to still play the game, right? And you have the available access in the form of PC gaming, right? We don't have disc drives anymore. There's a thing about not being able to buy a physical copy for the PC anymore. So that means this in itself drives sales to console gaming, but PC gaming is one of the huge things about gamers and PC gaming is that it saves space and it's less time consuming if you were to buy it for you don't have a drive anymore. The bill gives companies clear options and applies only to future games. Hearing is scheduled for Thursday. If you're part of an organization in the United States, please you can submit a letter of support to the committee. This is an important step for better rights for players who buy digital games. Yeah, this is the ultimate bottom line, to where this entire process is meant to protect gamers in general. So it's not just strictly because I know Stop Killing Games is meant to like it's a broader umbrella, where the goal is not simply protecting physical owners, but both sides of the line. To where if you play a game digitally or physically, because like there is a market where console gaming is getting increasingly expensive. I even like pulled out a flowchart in the past where the off the top of my head, off the dome, the price of entry to play a Nintendo game is $450 to $500. Joe.
So sorry.
I love you. How much was the Switch when we collaborated together? So when we collaborated to get Rex's Switch 2, do we know how much it was in total?
Like 500.
Okay. And that's before even thinking about getting a game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Because like you would say that's a pretty steep barrier of entry to just play like Mario, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to ask. Thank you.
Okay.
Love you.
Yeah.
And like that's not even considering the idea of you buying an Xbox. An Xbox and Xbox, the current Xbox console at the time of recording, and PlayStation is for refurbished like roughly $400-$500, but base price of a current console is roughly $800-$900, the same price as a phone even. So you have to even like for the barrier of entry for a method of leisurely activity, the base price is competing with the options of buying a phone that has access to free to play games. Oh yeah, even like the Stop Killing Games Act is meant to protect digital games, especially for the phone. Like if you have a phone game, that's the same thing. That's the same thing with like your purchase. You spend $60, $40 on a video game that you play on your phone because you don't have access to like a console or a PC, right? And then all of a sudden, shuts down. Where did that $40 go? Where did that $60 go? For some people, that's like the price of gas for like a minimum of a week's worth of like travel, or groceries that for like a few days. And that's crazy to imagine that like some people have this like silly argument. Let's see, games are licensed, not owned. So you're telling, so like the argument is really crazy because let's break this down. You're telling me that they want to lobby against the bill, that they want to lobby against this bill because they're licensed, not owned. So like there was a comment below that I agree with that. Like this, like our books licensed to. We bought a copy and we paid somebody to buy this game that you guys crafted for $60 a pop, $80 a pop, and you're telling me that. Well, then again, Nintendo is doing the same thing. Nintendo is being incredibly funny, where for the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2 is extremely difficult for people to purchase because in itself, when you buy a Nintendo Switch 2 game, it doesn't even like the cartridge that you buy is a permission slip to then download it. The game is not on the chip itself, to where, and like it's crazy because like even it's funny. So I'm scatterbrained right now. To focus on Nintendo alone, it's crazy to where if I were to buy Donkey Kong Bonanza, I can't simply just be offline, right? I need to be online to use the cartridge I bought $80 for to make my device say, hey, because of this key, because of this cartridge. This cartridge is not a game. The cartridge is a key to allow me to download this game. And then I download it, and like that's a huge barrier of entry. So you're telling me if someone doesn't have the internet access at home, they would have to go to a Starbucks after going to Best Buy to download this game because the game's not on the cartridge. That's, for some people, that's kind of a crazy thing to like jump leaps and bounds of. And that's even like funny to where like, hey, you even have like the barrier of entry to go to Costco, to go to Safeway, to Starbucks, Wi-Fi. Yeah, because like the next thing is the online services are complicated. But again, that's less than half of most games nowadays. Like, of course, you should like, if you had the intentions on making a game, is the intention of, it's like telling me, like, say World of Warcraft starts their process to like to shut down, right? No, I don't have an argument for this yet because it's extremely crazy. Yeah, like online services are complicated. Like the majority of these games, like Monster Hunter, for example, Monster Hunter, at the core of its game, is a single player experience. And then if you play online, that's just gravy to the game. The issue is like the issue for these games that people were trying to lobby for, trying to defend, is like when you make a video game, why is it that it is a complete choice to either make a game that's where the core gameplay is online, or make the core gameplay that is offline. For the online games I can think of, there is like World of Warcraft, like MMORPGs. I'm thinking Apex Legends, League of Legends, Marvel Rivals, all these like games that have with the intention of online features. Yeah, that's complicated, right? It's complicated to keep that on for a long period of time. But if like you're the crew is a situation where it's funny to where it's a racing game that chose to be online first, when there's been plenty of other games that started off as a single player game, and then being able to play online is gravy, much like Mario Kart, much like Sonic Racing, to where the core gameplay is a single player game. But then for you to then say, we're gonna build online first, incredibly wild, incredibly strange for you to do. So that's like, it's silly. Like we're asking you to like strip down the game to make it still playable for people who paid $40 to $80, $20 to $80. At most things have been $80. Dragon Ball, I believe, if I remember correctly, Dragon Ball Z Sparking, I believe, is a... Let's look this up. Oh, nice. The game's still half price. Wait. Okay. So, case in point. I find this funny because as I'm looking on my screen right now, the base price of the base Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is $70, but it keeps promoting the $100 deluxe edition for whatever reason. So I keep thinking to myself, oh wow, this game base price was $100. No, I'm wrong. It's just the deluxe edition is the thing that they're selling, and it's being pushed because the deluxe edition is a lot cheaper than Sparking Zero base. Sparking Zero base is $70 right now, but the sale price that's currently promoting is $50. That's $70 in savings that I didn't have to spend. Right? That's $20. $20 of savings for a game that I have been thinking about, and the users is relatively positive. I honestly, like on a side note, I wish games still provided demos, because you don't know if you actually wanted to play the game. You don't know if you want to commit to the game, right? What if you buy this game and then it turns out, oh shit, I'm really bad at it. I want to return it. Uh-oh, you can't return it. That's poop for a game that you thought you wanted, but turns out it's a user problem, right? It's crazy. They don't sell us a license that does it. Wait, hold on. They then don't sell us a license that doesn't. You sold us something you knew at the point of sale you can't live up to. It is technically a scam for third-party licensing, because like, my biggest like regret is can you still play Translation? Can you still play it? It's no longer. Stop Killing Games is for things like this, to where Transformers Devastation, if you don't own the physical game, you cannot play this anymore, because it's no longer available on Steam, Xbox, or PlayStation due to a licensing agreement with Hasbro's. Like, the only way to actually play this game is to have physical copy, or like yeah, like I lost out on my chance. I wish I can play this game, because this game has been extremely fun for me. It teased and promised a sequel to the game, and then for whatever reason we don't get the game anymore. We don't get that promised sequel anymore, or that comic line sequel anymore, because of the licensing agreement expired. And so it's for games like this. It's for games like Transformers Devastation. Like, don't sell it. Like, don't. Again, we can't control who owns properties, who owns the gaming properties to Pokemon, who owns the gaming properties to Transformers. But again, it's incredibly wild. It's incredibly, like, it's difficult to do this, because I wonder, because that's what I want. Can you, if you own a game, actually, let's look it up. Can you still, if you bought it on Steam? Let's see, like, if you previously purchased Transformers Devastation, you can still play it, but it was removed from the store in 2017. Okay, that's nice. To where, like, if you bought the game during its time, you can replay it. But if you missed out, then you missed out, and that's incredibly a huge issue for game preservation. To where if you don't own the game physically, you are dunzo, bonanza. You can never touch that game again. And that's an incredible loss, because that is a really good game. It's really fun, in my personal opinion. Like, a security risk exists. What security risk is there for turning a game offline? For making a game available for people to play offline? What security risk was there when there could have been a way to turn the crew into an offline game that you can play? Yeah, it's not the company's problem. The game isn't the company's problem anymore if you shut it down. If you shut down the live service, like, where is the security risk? That's a big question right now. This could be hard or expensive to enforce. Yeah, like, is it hard to enforce shoplifting? Yes. Does it happen anyways? Yes. Does that mean you close down Walmart? Does that mean you close down Costco, Target, Trader Joe's because shoplifting is hard or expensive to enforce? No. Then what makes it any different from video games that we just want to be playable without the when the server's down? Like if you remove the component of online play, are you a better game or a worse game? Like that's like the ultimate measurement that a game should have is can this game survive offline? Can you enjoy this game offline? That's why like things like Monster Hunter, if Monster Hunter game was never good, if Monster Hunter was never good without online features, then it never deserved it. It's like it's like that one quote from Tony Stark where he says, "If you're nothing without the suit, then you don't deserve it." It's what is the quote? Let me look it up. Tony Stark, if you're nothing without the suit, then you shouldn't have it. Yeah, we've learned as far long ago as 2017 when Tony Stark told Peter, "If you're nothing without this suit, you shouldn't have it." This pivotal moment forced Peter to realize that if we change the context, right? If the customer tells the game developer, where if you are nothing without online services, then you shouldn't have online services. This is supposed to be the pivotal point of game developers to realize that a game's value comes not from its not from its online features to like can play with other people. Like that is how a fighting game community. That's how the FCG community started. It started off with people who can't access each other online, so they go to a spot, they turn on the local Super NES, and they play money games, and they play like competitions for a fighting game that didn't initially have online features. So we have to repeat it. If you're nothing without online features, then you shouldn't have online features. That should be the core that should be the core mantra for most video games. But people want money. It's very easy to print money if you make a game that has online features. Online feature is like the money glitch, right? Where if you make a game and you have a online battle royale. Battle royales are a money glitch, right? Make a battle royale that people like, and then money's gonna come in, right? I don't know. They're like that. That's my take on this situation. It's really crazy. Let's leave. Let's leave some. Let's quote this. If you're nothing without the online service feature, then you shouldn't have it. There was a dream. There was an instance that before that was true for all games. Let's see. If you making the game playable online, supports the 5% who love trash games. Loves underperforming games. There's a huge barrier of entry to playing games as it is. I.e. Yeah, because I could think to myself, like, unless you have a friend that you can go over to their house and play a game, like, what are the chances of you playing a game in general? Like, what are the... No, there's nothing. If I were... Because back in the day, 2,000 years ago, there was a dream where if you had a friend who had a Super Nintendo, you would always go to that house. But if somebody had a PlayStation, you'd go to their house. Somebody had an Xbox, you go to their house. Somebody had like a PC game that we all wanted to experience together, we go to their house. We would always go to somebody's house, and that would be how people like see each other. People congregated at other people's houses. LAN parties were a thing. Steve over there has a Nintendo. Let's go play Super Mario at his house. That's how you made friends, by saying, "Hey, I have a PlayStation. Let's go play. Do you guys want to play games together?" And that's how people started collecting games back in the game. Back in the early 2000s, back in the early like 2005s, people didn't just like own consoles. Like it was like people shared gaming like they shared carpool. The gaming is a vehicle for people to make friends. I don't know. It's just really silly. This entire situation is so silly. Yeah, that's I'm set too. It's incredibly wild. But what else is on the docket? I was yapping for a bit. I don't know why streaming has been like... I don't know why. I hope. There's a hope. There's a hope that OBS has been behaving. For whatever reason, OBS kept flickering in and out of being disconnected. Online. Disconnected. I'm alive. It's... How do I explain this? It's... Oh, a friend of mine is playing 7 Days to Die. Nice. It's wild. Gaming is wild here. So this came into my feed incredibly crazy. I first opened up. I was planning on going through other content. There's a whole tab's worth of content, but I wanted to go through this because I saw this. This in itself is wild. Round. I love Liza P. This is an issue, maybe. Round 8 Studios at NeoWiz has posted a job listed for an AI creator position. The role focuses. Let me see. Let's see. The role focuses on using generative AI, including Stable Diffusion, Mid-Journey, LoRa, and ControlNet to create initial character and background concepts. Can we just like highlight the fact that it's a concept? There is hope that it's not strictly. I know there's a thing. People have a thing about any touching AI as it is as bad as hearing your cousin talk about cryptocurrency or NFTs. It's really sketchy. It's really you do you, dude. But like, it's really weird, right? I don't know. I don't know if comparing generative AI to NFTs and cryptocurrency is appropriate. I don't know yet. Assisting with textures and imaging to 3D modeling, train custom models for project-specific styles, refine output through the in painting and upscaling, integrating these tools into existing art workflow and to accelerate production. Pause on that. Cool. So anyways, this was the original post I saw about it, and let's look at the posting of the job to where it's really like, let's break this down first before we break this down. Let me create a character background design concept for concept drafting. And here's the thing, like, for all intents and purposes, doing the whole thing with generative AI or AI assisted tools in general, I'm what makes me less scared about this AI situation is the fact that it's Round 8 Studios is a non-American company. That's like, actually no. I have a hot take. What? Wrong, but what makes this less scary for me is that Round Neo American. As an American, like, this is rough to like beat around the bushes, though. Yeah, it's like for all intents and purposes, this is incredibly funny for me. But for all intents and purposes, this is a non-American company. I've only ever heard of bad things with gaming and AI when a Western American was behind it. Was Concord thing a Western game or Eastern? I was right. At the very least, like, Concord was a Western game. Developed by Firewalk Studios, an American game development studio based in Bellevue, Washington. Oh no, that's bad. As somebody who lives in the Seattle area and knowing Bellevue, this is bad. Cause like I think there's an EA Studios like in Kirkland as well. It's like ooh, what is it? Is there AI use generally in Asian games? Is used extensively for games that failed due to their AI use. Fallout 76 had glitchy AI. Gen AI use. Because like when I think to myself, let me finish that thought. That way I can like. I would love example counter examples. I would love counter examples to get educated. Because that's the funniest thing for me is like in this situation, is like, we're in a situation to where, hold on, let me just like hello, lady. Anyways, we're in a situation to where it's incredibly crazy to where AI is a huge thing. Claire Obscure almost got canceled for generative AI, but at the same time, oh my god. Like, here's a case in point. I was just about to say, Game of the Year game was someone tried to cancel Game of the Year because there was an art asset that was like still in the game. Retracting, yeah, like for whatever reason, award retraction for Claire Obscure was in massive player backlash over AI use assisted in neverness to ever. Because like again, like the whole thing with Claire Obscure AI was hold on, let me see. Claire Obscure AI in question. It's the AI in question is just regarding like I even like for me personally, I don't even know like what the discussion is. Where, hold on, let me just like. This is the thing in question that had AI. Somewhere here, there was a thing that didn't look right. But again, the fact that you had to look at it with a microscope and see, oh, there's generative AI of a picture that's on a newspaper and other parts of the game, instant cancel. People trying to cancel that game from just that alone shows the tourism that people have when it comes to these games, to where you have AI, I will not touch. But it's just art assets, and it's not. It's like what? Like it's a nothing burger of a thing that they're canceling about. And then recently there's controversies to NTE, or like the recent Neverness to Everness anime Grand Theft Auto game, to where I don't know the extent of that use in AI. I don't know the actual extent of that drama with Iron Mouse and that generative AI, but it's incredibly wild to think that, oh, you use a bit of it. There are people that are in a position to where any use of AI means that we're canceling our support for your game is incredibly wild. But yeah, no, like in a very like, but this tangent started because I had the funny idea of like, at the very least, they're not American because I've only ever, oftentimes I've been hearing, the whole thing because like the easiest example of like news in front of my head, where's that thing from? Is the fact that like Elon Musk's obsession with Grok AI and making an anime girl that looks like Mikasa from Death Note. That's like the biggest thing to where like he as an example has a factory somewhere that's importing water that's causing like this whole entire environment thing in a specific area in America, and the amount of gas you need for an area like that and the amount of resources you need that's requires cooling of a machine that uses generative AI is incredibly wild. That example in a bubble is very funny, and he's American. I've not heard of a situation. The worst thing I've heard about like Asians is like what is it of Asian AIs is the generative of like there's a voice actor from Sword Art, I believe, that's doing a thing of providing his voice for AI, and that's the thing I'm not going to go over because this is about Liza P. Let's see. Model aids and assets using AI-based textures and imaging to 3D to technology. Again, I don't know how hard it is to do this bit. Implementing AI tools into existing art workflow to speed up production time to build an effective AI art pipeline. That is a little concerning. I don't know the extent of these AI models and build libraries optimized for project style. Yeah, because like I will say, I mean, if we had an AI tool that allowed games to look good regardless of frames per second, to where here's the thing, here's a funny idea. What if we had what if we had an AI assistant that prevented games from polygoning in the middle of playing the game? That'd be pretty fun to where like I would like to play my game that was meant to work, and what do you mean in the middle of me playing the game it polygons? What if the AI prevents the game from polygoning? That'd be great, right? At the very least. That was an issue for Monster Hunter 2. Monster Hunter has a current issue to where occasionally the game will polygon, and I don't know if it's because of my current settings, something like in my system specifically, but I don't have a workhorse of a computer to like really think about that, right? But for the moment, like the game is still playable. It just kind of polygons when I'm not hunting a monster. In painting, I don't know what that is. And high resolution upscaling of AI products at the level applicable to real world writing. Yeah, because again, the latest generative AI trends and providing a guide to AI tools for in-house artists. There's a goal where we want a generative AI to be used correctly. We are in an era to where AI is at its worst because we have AI content creators, we have AI actors apparently, but that's the thing too. Like that's like the worst case scenarios that we're looking at. But like in my opinion, in my personal opinion as a non-game developer, right? I feel like I trust them a lot. I trust NeoWiz and Round 8 a lot more than I would an American studio. Because, again, we don't have the final product, right? And, like, drama that has happened with, Clair Obscur game of the year, it was the the AI tool that was like that canceled them was from of many of small things. It was the thing of it was a newspaper with a funky looking picture, and again, that's incredibly small, and you're telling me, and I can accept, like, it makes a lot of sense. Oh, they didn't catch it. Yeah, because it's not in is the word indicative? It doesn't affect the game enough. It doesn't affect the game from it doesn't prevent the game from being a good game. That's my whole. I think that might be my whole point when it comes to generative AI and AI use in gaming, in artwork. This itself art. I don't know if those eyes are AI generated. I don't know if that brooch is AI generated. I don't know if her necklace of a stopwatch is AI generated. But I do know Lies of P, very good game. But we don't know what the game looks like, and we don't know what parts of the game could be used with the tool to even like properly judge it. That's my personal opinion. Like, if they show, because like we hear of an AI creator position, but we don't know what that creative process looks like in that company, because they themselves live in a world where AI will be its worst right now, and it only gets better, right? But there has to be a line between accepting it as a tool and accepting it as the creator, because AIs will never usually we're not in a current space to where AI will ultimately be our only form of content creating. I can't just go to a chat GBT and say, hey, can you put on that one thing that would distract me from the entire world, right? That's the whole thing. It's incredibly weird. I think it's the right move to make, as long as they still have someone who's in charge of art direction and can make sure everything produces is coherent in a coherent. Yeah, like it's good. It's good to make it. Yeah, because like things are hard to make. Wait, hold on. What did the other people say? Yeah, I don't see why I don't see why a studio can't have concept art, use AI to generate it into a 3D model, saving time, because that's the whole point. We had a dream that AI was meant to be a resource to cut down on to save us time. Like I wish I had I wish I had AI that would like speed up the process of making food, of me. Yeah, they're like that. I like the idea of like pulling down a lever, and then AI would just give me food that was nutritious enough, that would save me space in my brain. But that's me at 2 a.m. wishing I had a reasonably healthy meal generated by AI versus going to McDonald's. I have two choices. At 2 a.m. I actually don't even think McDonald's is open at night. But if it was, there's two options. There's two options at 11 p.m. where I go to Jack in the Box, or I pull a lever that makes a reasonably healthy meal from my fridge, and all I gotta do is just like pull a lever, and I get something from my fridge without me trying to think about it, because I might be tired at night, you know. But like, and then have people make save time and save a ton of time, and then have people make sure the 3D model works and refine it for texturing and animation. People will argue time and time again that time saved is less money to real people, but I say the time saved is the time that can be then spent refining and making the game much better. That's good. Yeah. That's ultimately the dream, right? I don't know why there was a thing about erectile dysfunction. I don't know why. Um, now, now this guy's a tourist. Last P while it lasted. Now whatever its sequel is has gone from an immediate day one to maybe in a few months, maybe if it's on sale. As long as the game looks and plays great, I don't. Yeah, like that's incredibly true. Because like there's a situation where, okay, use generative AI. We didn't even the fact that's the part of the thing to where like we didn't even know that there was a part in Clair Obscur that had generative AI, and you're telling me that you're gonna cancel that game for something as insignificant as a newspaper that's posted on a wall. That is wild. That is wild. Don't want to be that guy, but a few NeoWiz has been using AI before. 99% of game studios in the past decade have. Nothing new. It's likely going to keep extremely hidden and low key given how stupid the social media. That's it. Midius the Pure. Art Mage player, love indie games. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see what the replies are. Let's see the quotes. Vile Company. From now on, Liza P is mine, and I made Romeo. Okay. And I don't know what that's coming from. What do you mean you don't know what fun while it lasted? You don't know what's fun until you play it. Disappointed. Again, like it's crazy. It's funny to like. I don't understand that one. Let's see. Do they not realize how this already taints games they've reduced? If their AI might have. I won't comment, but I will say maybe AI would have helped you with that, with like the spell check. Spell check is an AI. Spell check is an AI. Is modern spell check is largely you say fuck AI because AI corrects your fucking pronunciation of reduced. You're telling me that to say produce, you say with it like reduced. Oh my god, that's wild. You retarded bunch from the comments are not giving a damn if it's just concept art. Respectfully, how do you manage to think? Wait, what do you mean deserve to? What do you mean deserve to live? Oh, it's translated, so it may mean differently in Portuguese, but like, ultimately, I think this is fine. I think we don't know what the generative AI what the generative AI looks like. Like, if it makes a tree perfect, walking by it, that's great. But I don't know. I feel like this is a nothing burger for now, just because we don't know what the product is. We haven't seen what the product is. They're working on a game, and worst case scenario, they're using a den specialized in, and then they critique the AI until it's improved, right? That's the worst case scenario. I don't know. That's just my take. I think it's really crazy to where people are canceling this game over like a nothing burger, but I digress. I digress. But I will be right back. I think I'm going to play a game, and I should be right back. Actually, I think I will just stop streaming right now because, for whatever reason, it's unstable. I'm now seeing the message of like, no connection, and then the minute later, stream is healthy again. So, thank you so much, and yeah, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.